Jessica Lavecchio's job requires her to push a baby carriage all around the Salton Sea. Her carriage holds a machine called a pie swirl. It creates a windstorm in a bottle to measure emissions of dust coming off the desert floor.
This area, when we first started doing pie swirl emissions, the sea wasn't that far, and we probably stopped about here.
Lavecchio helps the Imperial Irrigation District monitor air quality along stretches of shoreline that were underwater not so long ago. Here at Red Hill Bay, docks that used to launch boats are now a good hike from the water's edge.
And this used to be connected to the Salton Sea.
Water means fun, and Salton Sea water is ideal for the amateur skier.
The Salton Sea was created over a century ago when a Colorado River diversion project breached. Now, nearby farms replenish it with agricultural runoff, along with pesticides that have been building up on the lake bed for decades. But the Salton Sea can't rely on that inflow much longer. Local officials have agreed to transfer some of Imperial's water to San Diego and the Coachella Valley starting in 2018. But they signed that deal with one big condition.
The state of California said in the water transfer agreement that they would restore the Salton Sea. And to date, we haven't seen any progress with that. So part of our position is we're going to get out here, we're going to be proactive. So part of what we're doing is air quality monitoring. We're looking at areas to see what is emissive right now, what we can do about it, and moving forward, what to do.
Lavecchio says the plan here is to reflood parts of Red Hill Bay, creating habitats for migratory birds that rely on the sea. In theory, those habitats, along with new geothermal energy plants planned for this area, will keep down the dust.
We're really pushing for a smaller but sustainable Salton Sea. So we still want a Salton Sea here, we just want one that is manageable.
The Salton Sea Air Basin exceeds California air quality standards for windborne dust much of the year. No one around here wants a sequel to Owens Lake. It had its water siphoned off by its southern neighbor, Los Angeles, in the early 20th century. Owens Lake went on to become the largest source of dust pollution in the entire country. Air quality monitors out there also use pie swirls to keep track of dust emissions.
We have almost the same team down here. They know about Owens Lake. They're here helping us do on-the-ground analysis now before we have an issue like Owens Lake.
Meanwhile, people who live right next to the Salton Sea wonder about its future. Yalimar Perez lives in North Shore, California, just blocks from the water.
It has like this really nasty reputation, like that you're gonna go inside and you're gonna come out without an arm or without an eye or something.
Waves at the beach lap against dead fish that can't tolerate water saltier than the ocean. Walking on the sand here feels strange because the sand is actually ground up bones. Perez learned about the Salton Sea through an environmental program at her high school.
My teacher, he would talk about the Salton Sea, and then I was like, well, I live so close to it, why haven't I gone?
When she did finally go, she was surprised to find it was actually pretty nice.
It's dirty, maybe, you know, from the inside, but from the outside it looks beautiful and there's still birds here. The birds are still alive.
But Perez knows the Salton Sea is not in great shape and that lots of people here have asthma. Neighboring Imperial County leads the state in childhood asthma hospitalizations. Maria Godinho lives in North Shore, but doesn't like to get too close to the Salton Sea. She says it can trigger her asthma attacks.
I almost don't go, but when I've been there, I have to keep my nose covered.
Even if the Salton Sea were pristine, winds would still carry dust from other parts of the desert, and industry pollution, shoddy housing, and vehicles idling at the border are also major concerns. Whatever is driving breathing problems, Perez says in a community where many don't speak English, people feel out of the loop.
The wind is gonna pass by and it's gonna go into our lungs, it's gonna go into our bodies, into our systems, and that's not gonna be good for us. People with asthma are gonna get more attacks. We could get a lot of sicknesses around here.
Mitigating dust issues would be expensive, but according to one study, not fixing the Salton Sea could create a $30 billion problem. Worsening public health would be part of that burden. David Wagner, KPBS News.